The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife were captured by U.S. forces during an overnight raid. Some love this move, some hate it. What's my take? Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife being captured by U.S. forces during an overnight raid in Caracas. Now, this was an operation that had very minimal injuries. I'm not sure if anybody died. There were some strikes in Caracas, but I think there were just minor injuries. Trump came out and said that a couple of guys were injured and a helicopter might have been hit, but aside from that, there were no U.S. casualties. Venezuelans, I don't really know. However, the Venezuelans, from what I'm able to see, they like this move. They're happy about this. Not just Venezuelans in Miami, Florida, and other parts of the USA, but Venezuelans in Caracas, Venezuelans in other parts of the country that's not Caracas. They seem to appreciate what Trump did because let's be clear about who Maduro was. Maduro at one point was a president, but now he's a dictator because from what I'm able to read, he pretty much stole the election. He didn't let the election happen fair and free. He just took power and ruled by decree. He was a dictator for all intents and purposes. And the reason why we did this, aside from him being a dictator and being a narco trafficker, impacting Americans and Venezuelans and other parts of the world as well, is because he was a big ally of China, Russia, Iran. As a matter of fact, the Chinese delegation was in Caracas right before this whole thing happened. And I think they're still there. Now, clearly they didn't get hit, obviously. It was about Maduro. But the Chinese, the Russians, and Iranians wanted to have them as an ally against us. And of course, there's the oil issue. And what Trump said is that we're going to go in there and run the country until we can get a transition to the appropriate party, which may be the lady Machado. And we're going to send our oil companies in there to fix the infrastructure. Now, some are saying that's why we went there is because of the oil, no other reason. But I think there's a lot more reasons. The oil, the potential for them to be an ally to foreign nations against us. And if they are an ally to those foreign nations will, of course, take control of the oil and use it against us. And you don't want that to happen. If we do nothing, then something will be done. And then we are the ones who suffer. Now, before I go any further, let's get into a few things here. We have some reactions from Venezuelans out there in the country and also USA. Check it out. I think it's safe to say that they like what happened here. Okay, they're cheering in the streets. You see the flags flying. All right, let's go get some more here. This is going to be in Doral, Miami, Florida. And there was a big celebration of Venezuelans out there. Now, this is a longer video, but I'm going to show you a piece of it to give you a gist of what's happening.
Yes. Yeah, come celebrate with us. We love everybody because you, America, has loved us so much. So much. Thank you, America.
Edgar, thank you so much for sharing those sentiments. Guys, this is something.
So I think he's pretty happy. I think he likes what Trump did. Oh, that's just one guy. Well, I got a lot of people. And if you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, of course, and everywhere else, I've put up videos of others saying the same thing here. This is going to be in Spanish, but you can see the subtitles and I'll translate.
La veo muy emocionada llorando. ¿Cómo se siente? Cuéntanos por qué llora.
Felicidad, tantos años esperar esto.
So far, the lady asked her, how's it feel? She's saying, I've waited so many years for this.
Señor, gracias, Señor. Ay, Dios mío, esta es una alegría inmensa. Gracias, Señor. Gracias al presidente de Estados Unidos.
So you heard what she said. She said, gracias, Señor. Thank you, sir. Gracias, Presidente de Estados Unidos. Thank you to the president of the USA, President Trump.
Esperando hace años, cómo he sufrido, cómo no han hecho daño, cómo han matado a mis hermanos. Ay, esto ha sido horrible, mira.
¿Cuántos años tiene usted aquí en los Estados Unidos? ¿Hace cuánto se fue de Venezuela?
Now, she's talking about how this has affected a lot of her family members, her brother, other family members, because I think they said this was the largest I don't know how you would say it, the largest exodus of people from a country aside from Syria. Like 9 million people had to leave. It was crazy. Okay, and now she's asking her how long she's been in the USA.
Ay, tenemos aquí 8 años ya.
Been there 8 years now.
8 años porque nos mataron al hermano mayor y fue fuerte, hermano. Secuestraron a mis hermanos, eso fue fuerte.
Her brother was killed. Other brothers were kidnapped. It's crazy down there. It is really crazy. Some say that Maduro was a president. Others say he was a dictator, and the country is being held hostage by a dictatorship. And now that Trump came in and got Maduro and his wife out the way, then that paves the way for this regime to come to an end. Unfortunately, there are still some from the regime in Venezuela, but since they were able to get the head of the snake, I think everybody else is going to have to just run away, go to Moscow somewhere, or figure something else out. Okay, now let's keep going here. This is when a Chinese delegation came to Caracas just like a few hours ago. I think yesterday they came, and I think they're still there right now. Now, I'm sure they got the first thing spoken back to Beijing, but yeah, this happened right when they were there.
Me trae muy buenos recuerdos. Feliz año. Feliz año. Este es el año del caballo, ¿verdad? Ah, usted es caballo. Yo soy tigre. Tú.
So he's like, he's saying Happy New Year. It's the year of the horse. I'm the tiger, all this and that.
Ah, tanto tiempo. Yo lo conocí a él muy joven. Muy joven. Hace 20 años.
Muy joven. I met him when I was very young, 20 years ago. So you see what's going on, a lot of pleasantries and everything happening. I'm going to let it play with no sound on, but that's Chinese delegation. They're talking about Happy New Year. And today is January 3rd, 2026. So again, this is very recently. This is like yesterday or the day before where the Chinese delegation went to Venezuela to try and get them on their team. Because remember, if the USA does not do anything here and they just leave Venezuela be and we don't do what we did, then the Chinese are going to be there trying to butter them up. The Russians, the Iranians, they want the Venezuelans to be on their side. So they're able to get the natural resources and an ally against the USA to make us weaker. And of course, if they have them as an ally, the drugs that Venezuelans were dumping on us would continue the same way that the Chinese are able to send the precursors, the ingredients to fentanyl, which is really killing us right now in the USA. 100,000 deaths in 1 year from fentanyl overdoses. Now, this is Trump talking about how Maduro and his wife were taken aboard the USS Iwo Jima and they're headed to New York right now.
Tell us where Maduro and his wife are right this second.
Well, they'll be heading to New York. They were indicted in New York, and also.
So are they taken to a ship first, and then?
Yes, to Iwo Jima. They're on a ship, but they'll be heading into New York. The helicopters took them out, and they went by helicopter in a nice flight. I'm sure they loved it. But they've killed a lot of people. Remember that they killed a lot of people, and
a lot of Americans.
Even people in their own country. They killed a lot of people to maintain power. He's a very vicious person.
You tell us.
All right, there we go. So this is again Maduro aboard the USS Iwo Jima. And you see the picture right here. We got DEA happening. We got him blindfolded with a bottle of water. And I'm sure they gave him this little tracksuit to put on because when they got him, he might have been tighty-whities in the bed, sleep, whatever. Okay, put this on, put this blindfold on, these headphones on. Now we're going to take you to New York. All right, and that's where he was indicted because he was indicted here for the drug trafficking and guns and stuff like that. So that's the pretext. Okay. You're indicted for the drug running and everything else. We're going to take you back here to the USA where we're going to try you. And hopefully, I presume we're going to convict you. Okay. Now, there's more here. Okay. We're talking about China, Iran, Russia. Check it out.
How this news is being received in Iran. How's it being received in Russia? How's it being received in China?
All three, predictably, will deplore this kind of activity publicly. Privately, they will be impressed with the military capability here. I would argue none of those three militaries could have executed an operation like this. And again, we tend to just breeze by this. But the idea of finding, fixing, kidnapping, taking him out alive with his wife, no casualties on the side of the U.S., that's an extraordinary military operation. So I think while there will be a lot of public condemnation of the United States, predictably from those three nations, privately they'll be saying to themselves, that's a very capable military. That's not a bad thought to pop up in Beijing, Moscow, and Tehran these days.
There we go. So that's what's happening. And of course, there's a lot more from this story that I'll put out as soon as it comes available. But I want to say this as I close, wrap it on up, put the bow on top. I don't think this is the beginning of a war, because some say, you know what, we don't want regime change. We don't want this. We don't want that, because you're going to have a war, a decades-long war like Iraq. I don't think that's what's going to happen here. Iraq, much different story. You're talking about a lot of different rebel groups and the religion and the region. It's a lot different than what's happening with Venezuela. I think overwhelmingly the Venezuelan people appreciate this. They want this. And quite frankly, they most likely need it for the country to go forward. And if they don't align with us, then they're going to have to align with China, Russia, Iran. It's not really a matter of, okay, let them just stay by themselves. Nah, we can leave them alone. But if we leave them alone, then the other nations will take them. So it's a matter of, who do you want to have in the hemisphere close to us? What's the best influence for Venezuela? The USA or China, Russia, Iran? And you can't pick a third option, because those are the only two from what I'm able to see. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion on the strike on Venezuela and the capture of the president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think it's okay. I'm not necessarily a big fan of regime change and things of this nature, but what are you going to do? You got to do something. You can't just leave it alone, because one side of me says, you know what, just leave it alone, let them be. But it's not quite that simple, because if we leave them alone, then other nations are not going to leave them alone. Something must be done with Venezuela. It's just a matter of what can be done and how can it be done. I'm glad that the president was captured alive, because you've seen other presidents, other leaders get straight up deleted. We saw Saddam Hussein get deleted, and we saw Uday and Qusay dead on TV. So we didn't have that to happen. We did not have an Afghanistan withdrawal, which was disastrous. A plane taken off with people, human beings, hanging onto the actual plane. None of that was going on. No ridiculousness, no nonsense, just straight to what we needed to do. Get the president out of the way, install U.S. for a while, and then let them take it over. And then I think that'd be best overall for the Venezuelans. That's probably the best option that they actually have. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.